Hello and welcome back to CookieRunRaidRun with Aldroy Galcon. And in this episode, I'm going to show you one of my attempts to beating the Custard Queen Bee on hard difficulty. However, that is not the main thing on what makes this run memorable. What makes it memorable is because I'm actually running alongside two very famous YouTuber inside of the CookieRun community, and that is Mole Maniac and Chichen. Those two are the reason why this video exists in the first place. And it just so happens that it's complete by accident because I didn't expect that those two are going to be in this run. Anyway, it's too bad that I do not record the chat that was available before this run. Before I start recording, so yeah, that's a bit unfortunate from my point of view. Anyway, I was quite worried that this run will probably never happen at all because someone finally managed to press the ready button until at the last possible second. Anyway, but yay, we can actually run itself. Yeah, this is one of my attempts. Overall, there were, if I'm not mistaken, there was like 6 attempts. This is before Custard Queen Bee was replaced. And by being replaced, I mean that during the schedule on the first season of RaidRun, this is the last chance that I have in order to get the SSS rank on Custard Queen Bee on hard difficulty. And looking back after playing this thing and remembering the very first season of RaidRun, this boss fight is incredibly tough. As you can see, the timer is 17 minutes. I'm not kidding when I say you're going to need that much of time in order to beat the Custard Queen Bee. Because, I mean, from Devsisters' point of view, we are still pretty much like brand new game mode that was introduced into the game, and like every single one of us still has no idea what it is. I mean, surely by now, by the time of this particular day, we already figured out what we are supposed to do. So I'm not going to waste a bunch of time, and that's one of the mistakes that you could do, and that actually can make quite a huge impact. But thankfully, we managed to get great rating instead of like good or even terrible or terrible when it's not called terrible. It's more like oops, and then the boss finally attacks us. Well, at least it could be better, but it could have been so much worse. So anyway, the strategy here at the time, the idea was that we are going to put Snake Fruit Cookie as our primary runner, and the second skill is supposed to be either DPS based or like defense reduction, like Blue Lily skill that I used prior to this run. And the reason why I chose this Blue Lily skill is because there's hardly anyone who actually did use Blue Lily skill. I think there's only like another person besides me that use Blue Lily as well, and everyone else is actually using DPS based skill. And unfortunately, this is at a time where we still have no idea how good Captain Ice skill actually is, and also like this is also at the time where we have no idea that the bosses, the 4 bosses in RaidRun are going to have completely different weaknesses to each other. So, like for example, Custard Queen Bee here, it's actually weak to yellow and red attacks, if I'm not mistaken. So what I mean that is, if you use blue DPS skill, it won't receive a bonus damage compared to if I use red based skill and yellow based skill like Snake Fruit here. And also this is at a time where we still have no idea that there's a combination that will make this fight absolutely incredibly easy. And also this is before the patch that was introduced right after the boss fight got changed, because people complained that in order to get the triple S in Custard Queen Bee, especially on hard difficulty, it is incredibly tough. And by tough, I mean there's hardly any people in the community that actually managed to get it. And I don't think that there is a video about beating this boss fight in the Triple S at the time, and it was pretty difficult, and in order to get it. So I think, for example, that you have to be at like level 15 in terms of like every single skills, which is incredibly time consuming and takes lots of resources that the community just simply didn't have. So right after this boss fight got changed into, I'm not quite sure what it got changed into. If I'm not mistaken, it was bomb cushion crayon first, and then the giant sugar mantis. Because I'm pretty sure like the poison jelly toad, which is the fourth one, is introduced as the last one. I think that also the part I remember in the first season. So yeah, it got changed into bomb cushion crayon, I think. So if I'm wrong, so please let me know in the comments down below. And speaking of leave comments down below, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell so you won't miss out anything that I put on this channel. Everything is free, you don't need to pay, and by subscribing you make me happy and this channel grow and flourish even more. And by subscribing and ringing the bell, you won't miss out anything that I put on this channel. So anyway, yes, this boss fight is like 17 minutes long, and we have spent 12 minutes in order to beat it, and still have quite a bit of length to go. And this is also one of the major complaints that I haven't talked about in the previous video about Custard Queen Bee, which is the boss fight is incredibly long. And the reason why it's incredibly long is because the HP, the hit points that the boss gets, is unbelievably large. And I've already explained it in the first Custard Queen Bee video, so I won't explain it even a bit more. So there you go. This is why this video is ridiculously long for a RaidRun. I mean, anyway, I think that's pretty much sums up everything talked about in this video about Custard Queen Bee itself. The next video is I'm going to show you what happens if you fail at RaidRun, and by failing I mean you might notice in the previous video of Custard Queen Bee that just before I actually fail, I finally managed to beat the boss, and before the boss fight is over, there is a notification sent by the game telling me the timer has run out and I will lose a bunch of hit points for every 1 second. So yeah, that thing will be explained on the next video. So you're gonna see me the very first run that I've ever done on RaidRun, and also the very first hard difficulty in Custard Queen Bee, and it was the very first attempt as well to get that. Anyway, shout out to Mole Maniac, who is thankfully is part of this run, this RaidRun, particular RaidRun, and also Chichen as well. He is one of the best runners in this game, and that is it for me. I'll see you on the next video of the RaidRun and what happens if you fail at it. Anyway, this is Alsroy Galcon signing it off, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care and bye bye.